I'm going to describe something to you. You wake up after a full night's sleep and you're already tired. Not groggy, but tired. The kind of tired that used to mean that you slept 4 hours, and now it's just your baseline. You're in the gym and you're putting in the work, but your body is just not responding the way that it used to. The muscle isn't coming and the fat is not going. You haven't changed anything, but the results have changed. You're sitting in a meeting and it's high stakes. The kind of meeting that you've sat in on 100 times, but this time there's a lag. A half-second delay between the thought and the word. Now you're still sharp, just not as sharp as you used to be. Your libido has dropped, not gradually over decades, but noticeably. And it's affecting your relationship in ways that you don't want to admit. If any part of this lands, this video is for you. What I've just described is the clinical symptom picture of low testosterone. Not every man will have all of them. However, most men will recognize at least 2 or 3. And the reason why I'm walking through them specifically, rather than talking about testosterone in the abstract, is because this condition is chronically underdiagnosed. Not because it's rare, but because the symptoms are easy to explain away. Stress, age, not getting enough sleep, working too hard. Now, these explanations might feel true, but they're not always accurate. Let's start with energy. Testosterone plays a role in red blood cell production and overall metabolic function. And when levels fall, the system begins to run less efficiently. The output, which is sustained energy across a full day, reflects that. This is not fatigue from overwork, because it doesn't resolve from a vacation and it doesn't resolve with more sleep. It's a baseline that has quietly shifted, and most men can point back exactly to when it started if they think back carefully. Body composition is where most men start to notice that something is wrong because it's measurable and it's visible. Testosterone is the primary hormonal driver in lean muscle maintenance in men. It also influences where the body preferentially stores fat. When levels drop, the body loses its inclination to hold on to muscle and it gains an inclination to hold on to fat, particularly around the abdomen. The training hasn't changed and the diet hasn't changed, but the outputs have. That right there is the signal. The cognitive symptoms are the ones that men are least likely to bring up. And there's a reason for that. A man whose career depends on his mental output, whose value in the room is his ability to think clearly under pressure, does not easily admit that something has shifted there. It feels like the most dangerous thing to acknowledge, but it's real and it's reported consistently. A dullness, a lag, difficulty holding a complex thought throughout a long meeting. The edge is still there, it just requires more effort to access than it used to. Libido is the symptom most associated with testosterone, and it's the one that men are most reluctant to discuss. A sustained and noticeable decline in sexual drive. Not a phase and not a stressful month, but a change that has persisted and is affecting your relationship. It's a clinical symptom. It's not a reflection of how you feel about your partner. It is not a reflection of who you are. It is information. If you've been tracking with this, if 2, 3, or maybe even 4 of the descriptions landed with you, then the appropriate response is not to wait and see. The appropriate response is to get your levels tested. Low testosterone has a clinical threshold, that is below 300 nanograms per deciliter on 2 morning blood draws in combination with symptoms. That combination, the number and the symptoms, is what a clinician ultimately evaluates. You don't need a referral and you don't need months of appointments. What you need is a blood draw. The data will tell you whether what you're experiencing has a clinical explanation or not. That process starts with a TRT Companion Panel at opimuslabs.com.